Alejandro Zaza, and Christine Armstrong. Thank you for joining us. I'm dying to know what you think. Reactions. May I ask you, Jeff? We'll just go down the line.
It was inspirational to me to see their stories. I was like kind of tearing up back there. It was wonderful. I'm very impressed, and wow.
Do we have our own? Yeah, we do. I'm overwhelmed right now. I'm emotional from watching both of you and seeing what Dom and Nadia put together. I just am flabbergasted. It's incredible. And I'm so excited for the public to see it. I feel like it is so inspirational. And I mean, both of you, and just seeing the individual stories, you know, you with your family and you changing your life, it just gives people a lot of hope.
Well, I made a promise that I was not going to swear. And it's been really, really hard. But I'm going to keep that promise. Those three characters, I think they send the best message to all of us, with or without diagnosis. Those three inspire me again. And yeah, this might sound like cliche, but it is a second wind, I think, for the three of us today. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christine Armstrong. I'm just going to introduce myself
yes,
because I'm not in the film. I feel like really out of place up here. I'm the director of patient advocacy for our oncology portfolio in AbbVie, and I just want to thank you so much for sharing the story, your stories, and to your point, I mean, the hope with or without a CLL diagnosis, you're all just incredible individuals, and just the purity and the simplicity of you living your life is incredibly inspirational. So thank you.
Alejandro, did you bring your Kleenex? We told you to.
I'm working really hard to not use them.
Well, I mean, as we work the down the line, and Christine, I am kind of curious what you think. What do you hope people take away from this film?
I think it's been said. I mean, at AbbVie, we're so committed to making sure we're giving voice to individuals who happen to have cancer. Here in this situation, it's chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And it's so important for others. Again, you're leading your both simple and exceptional lives, you know, in the face of this. And we know through just research, years and years and years, like we bring innovative science, you bring the will to live, you bring somebody seeing themselves. They want to talk to us, but they want to see you. They want to see what you're doing. They want to know they have it within themselves as well. So I think I'd get again, just so honored to kind of be able to spotlight the really lived experience of these diseases and remove the stigma of, you know, whatever it is, whatever point in the journey you're at.
Anyone else like to, Jeff? What do you hope folks take away from this film?
I think it gives people hope. I mean, that's the bottom line, I think. It gives newly diagnosed people hope because they're the ones that struggle. I've seen it many, many times on social media and whatever, just, oh my God, you know, what's going on? And I think, you know, telling stories like ours, you know, people that have been around the block a few times with this and are still making their lives good is great. And I think it also helps their caregivers. Like, I was really moved about your children piling on top of you and that wonderful thing. It's like we're also giving hope to our families, our wonderful caregivers, my wife, Lori. I mean, just, I think that's what it is. I think it's hope.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank everyone at AbbVie for producing this movie. I think it's a great move, and things have changed a lot with the landscape of cancer and diagnosis and treatment, and they are on board with showing everyone, patients, public, family, that the whole landscape has changed and there's a future. There's definitely a future involved. So thank you, AbbVie.
I'm curious, this is for Jeff, Christina, or Alejandro. Any hesitation in participating in the film? Because you are being very personal here, you're sharing personal stories. Just wondering if you felt there was a real value in going public with your story.
No, I wasn't, to be honest. I think it was a little scary because I've never done this before, but I wanted to help, and I think this helps so much. No fear at all for that. I mean, it was beyond. It was a service, I believe, to give to others by being in this film.
I agree. I felt like it was the way to give back and to spread the word and spread hope. And the experience itself, I didn't anticipate that it was going to be as in-depth as it was. So I have done other things over the years, and when they said, "Do you want to be filmed?" I didn't realize it was going to be this in-depth and this personal, and it's like, what do you mean you're going to hang out for 3 days? And I'm tired. But what really got to me is I had been told by friends to journal through heavy treatment, and I had never revisited the journal since I had gone into remission. And Dom and Nadia encouraged me to get that out and read it, and I'm so glad it didn't make the cut, because boy, I cried like a baby. It was therapy, and so on a personal note, it was very therapeutic to do the movie too, and it was a lot of fun.
Alejandro, you went camping with Dom.
Yes, we went camping. Before the camping story, I think at some point we all got diagnosed, and we looked up to one person on Facebook, on a group, on a text, and that one person gave us a little bit of hope. And that one person, if we still remember, I still remember the phone call that I had with him, gave us that little push and at the same time hope. What we're doing, we have to continue carrying that flag, and we're doing it here, and thanks to you guys to give us the opportunity to continue with that flag and giving hope to more people. This way, mine was started with a phone call, with a 45-minute phone call. 50 minutes of hope to millions. It's worth it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the camping story. The camping story, it was planned, but at the same time, there were things that came out very spontaneous, and we ended up, the cooking part, I still have the photo how we cooked dinner, and it's on video, and oh my gosh, that's what we did for it. So we camped in the middle of Carrizo Plain. If you guys have never visited or driven by it, please do it. Please do it. Please enjoy it. For me, Carrizo means a lot. A lot.
It's a little hot in August, but very
Yes.
beautiful in the spring. I will second that. I've been camping there a few times. Dom, I wanted to ask you a question. How is it working with these patients, and what did you learn that you maybe didn't know before?
Well, you want more of the camping story, or? Firstly, I don't think Nadia or I don't take for granted other people sharing their time with us. It's one thing we never get back, and so it's a real honor to spend time with anyone, really, sharing their story. And so thank you for that. But I think tenacity is probably the word that springs up more in my mind when I think about the time we spent together. And I think it's very easy for me to get negative when there are small roadblocks, like tiny little roadblocks in my life. And when I see the pragmatism that these guys approached a very serious diagnosis, I found that really inspiring. And I gave myself a sort of little symbolic slap every time I reminded myself that life can get a lot worse, and even then it can get a lot better if you remember how to go about living, as you said.
Now, I know there was a time where each of you were off medications and you were able to get back and to do the things that you really loved. How was that? That must have been.
Getting off medication for a while was kind of cool. That's what I felt about it. It was like, yay, no pills. It was good. It gave me a mental boost. I think more than anything, it was. I'm free. I can fly now for a while. You know, the doctor visits are further apart. I think that's the boost I got out of that. Yeah, it was kind of nice. I want to have a comment about Dominic as a filmmaker.
Oh, maybe next time.
Yeah, no, he hides behind bushes when I fall on a skateboard. That's kind of like a camping story.
Did you have anything you wanted to mention about when you did go off your medications and you were able to do those things you loved? Did you feel like you were getting the old Christine back, or how did it feel?
Yes, I mentioned in the movie, I don't know why I said I hopped in my truck and went to the grocery store. So, but honestly, it was a victory because I was in almost 5 years of back-to-back treatment, and it knocked me down pretty hard. And so it took me some time. It's still taking me some time to deal with the new physical normal and a little bit of comorbidity fallout and that type of thing, but to start waking up and have a clear head and be able to work out and go with the family and do the things that I love doing, it was like being let out of jail.
Interesting.
To lay on a couch or lay on your bed and not be able to get up and get out and get around, it's just been my lifelong therapy. And by getting out and doing activities, it takes all that noise in your head and it narrows it down to a manageable process where I can focus on my life, my family, on other things than just treatment. So it means everything.
Alejandra, and you must have loved getting back on the bike. I don't know if you ever stopped riding.
I never stopped. I never stopped. The only days that I didn't was Thursdays, which was treatment day. And Thursday was not so fun. Friday I would wake up and I would feel normal, go to work and attend calls and made a normal Friday again. And Friday during the day I was already planning my Saturday ride. And so I don't think I ever stopped unless it was a hard day.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Dom. What considerations did you take in mind when you approached this film and telling these stories, these patient stories?
Well, the first consideration, Nadia and I make a lot of outdoor movies and deal with lots of skiers and climbers and mountain bikers. And even with professional athletes, one of the considerations is their level of fatigue. You're getting them to do things again and again and again. Obviously, dealing with these guys, that consideration is more serious. But it was not something I need to have worried too much about. Mostly, I got exhausted. And especially Christina, I think, is probably the worst offender. Trying to follow her around the ski hill was difficult. But yeah, so it was a serious consideration, though, not to exhaust people in front of the camera generally, but you want them to share their stories. So having energy is an important thing to be able to do that effectively. And the other thing is the same consideration we give every story, which is treating people like fellow human beings and not asking them to make themselves uncomfortable. And I think just openness with communication, I hope, successfully navigated that potential obstacle.
I'd like it on the record that he said a drone after me.
It's too slow.
Yeah, you know what? One thing that really struck, I don't know, were you all fit before? Because I was sort of like so impressed at how physically fit you are. And I, you know, my personal note, my father-in-law has had 3 different cancers. He had a surgery earlier this year that it was 50% if he was going to make it. And the doctors are at UCLA, I think UCLA, they keep saying they think it's his positive attitude. He has the best attitude about everything, and it's sort of a life lesson for me. And I'm wondering 2 things: how much of a role did physical fitness play, and also positive attitude? Because you truly do I feel the positivity coming from you, truly. I'm wondering if those 2 things, how important were they and continue to be for you?
I think it's really important. I again started this journey a little bit overweight and a little bit out of shape. And when I got my diagnosis, I decided it's time to take charge. I needed to whip this kind of dad bod into shape pretty much and get going, and started running again, which I hadn't done since high school, and started running charity runs, like half marathons, and kind of shed the weight finally, and gave me a really positive, gave me a way to give back for that way, and the way to inspire people, I think. And I think that's the positive part of it too, is that show people you still can do this stuff, even if you're a little older, even if you've been, diagnosed with something. I think that's a goal I wanted to do. And plus, when I was in high school, I said I want to be the 68-year-old dude that skateboards, and that was a goal that I achieved.
Well, I was in, I mean, at the risk of sounding not humble, I was in supreme physical condition when I went into treatment. And, it's kind of the opposite now. Not the opposite, but I'm 63 years old. I'm definitely starting to feel the outcome of age and everything else. But it was very much a deciding factor in being brought into a clinical trial to be in great cardiac condition. And I've heard a lot from my cardiologist and my treating oncologist that it is absolutely imperative that your heart is strong, and especially with immunotherapy. So, just get out there and stay healthy, because the healthier you are when you go into treatment, the better your outcomes will most likely be. And, it gives you a positive attitude when you're out and being active and out and about. And my doctor bought into that. So I had an amazing oncologist who was a lot of fun, and we ended up being friends. And I think that the positive mental attitude was brought up many, many times in the doctor's office, in the treatment chairs. I would look around, and not everybody feels that way, and I just felt like it's something I need to do. I need to do it for my friends, myself, my family, and others. And what I would find is that the nurses and the nurse practitioners and the doctors became playful with me. So we were pranking a lot in the exam rooms. I had a foot race with one of my doctors over a sky bridge. He saw me pop out of the imaging department, and I could hear him kind of quicken his footsteps, and the next thing I know, he's almost at a dead run walk passing me, and we broke into a run at that point. And so those little things made my day, made my month. You know, I'm there to have an infusion, and I've got, you know, somebody's got me laughing, and it's medicine.
All of you tomorrow, do this exercise. We all have to move at least 1 foot every day. But it's easy, very easy, to find an excuse. Don't think of that excuse. Don't think. Just do it without thinking. There were days for me that I felt lazy in working out, and people will tell me, "You're not lazy." Me, I was feeling lazy. But I knew that I needed to work out. Why? Because that was the door that I knew I would open, and I would feel better. And I would drag myself. It's only 10 seconds. 10 seconds to put a bib on. 10 seconds to put your shoes on. 10 seconds to get on the bike. And 10 seconds for 2 more pedals. And all of a sudden, I almost said a bad word. Everything works out for you. Ignore, 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 and just do it. And in 5 minutes, you'll look back and you're a different person. Next time you feel down, do a push-up, do a squat. Move yourself against the wall. Open and close the door of the house. Something, touch your toes, and you'll feel different within a minute. Little by little, it'll get longer. Just do it. Just move. That's what I tell all my friends. Just do it. Move it.
Christine, you are in charge of patient advocacy team at AbbVie. Talk to me a little bit about the power of positivity. How important is that? And also staying fit. These two things really matter, don't they?
Absolutely. And I think, again, you guys are just exemplifying so much of the ethos that we want to share, and the messages we bring through our patient education, reminding people that it's a whole body experience. You know, again, there's the therapy, there's the disease, but so much of communication, sharing information. You all three were so protective, and I'm so glad, Dom, you captured the moment of the diagnosis and how you felt about telling your families. You know, and we see that a lot with CLL, because you are told to go watch and wait, and you're like, how do I communicate that? What does that mean? And how do I both receive the news for myself and receive the news for my family and protect my family? So again, making sure we're reminding everybody to the support system. And this is, again, where the patient story becomes so important, because it's I hate to say it, it's a rare air space that you share with one another, and you guys all just met, and you like seem like the oldest of friends, and because you have such a kindred spirit, and that connectivity is something we like to bring in patient advocacy, to make sure we're connecting to advocacy organizations like CLL Society or Blood Cancer United. Like, that's so incredibly important that we put our support behind those organizations, because that's where you guys go. I know many of you are connected very strongly with those patient advocacy organizations, and there too, they're going to say the same thing: physical health, mental health, positivity, community, all key to healing and affecting outcomes.
I'm curious, you of course you have down days. Was there anything you'd tell yourself, or just to remind yourself, I've got to get through this? I don't know, little mantras, or I love what you said, Jeff. I have to stay, what is it? Stay alive. Is there anything you would tell yourself to those moments where you weren't, you're a little bit blue, a little bit down?
I think it's good to let yourself have a down day too. I think, there's going to be days, and you're just going to have to roll with those. I think it's not bad necessarily, and you just have to pick yourself up and keep going. I think that's the message that that's the way I feel about that. You know, like Alejandro said, you gotta you know, it may be bad, but then eventually you have to put that foot out and put the other one in front of it and get going and do what you need to do, and you know, maybe do some yard work or go skateboard or go to a movie or do something. And I think that's the way I kind of handle it most of the time. Yeah.
I think I was motivated by jealousy because you know, my family is very active, and our friend group that extends pretty large is extremely active, and my mountain bike group, they're all women that are half and less my age, so 20s and 30s. And what would happen is I would force myself to go, and I would instantly feel better after pedaling my mountain bike, usually within 10-15 minutes. I had to really watch for dehydration. I had issues with that, and so I would push myself hard, and here's my group going up and they're chattering, and I'm slowing down. And I had a lot of moments, when I say jealousy, where I was kind of like the kid that got left out, you know, hey guys, you know, I'm coming. And it would just drive me crazy that I wasn't keeping up. And so, you know, I'd have a day or two on the couch, maybe after an infusion, and, you know, or there might be a day where I wasn't feeling as well. But I always did something because I knew it made me feel better after treatment. And it seems counterintuitive. You don't feel well, or you feel a little ill, but after you move, after you hydrate, you do feel better. So that motivation was there. And then, you know, again, just keeping up with everyone. I didn't want to be left out. I didn't want to miss out on a great day.
Yeah, I like what you said about when you said if you laid on the sofa, it felt like it was a wasted day. I don't know. I would necessarily agree with that. But I get it. What you're saying, it's a beautiful day. I have to be out, make the most of it.
I was trained to do that from a child. You know, if you weren't up doing chores, there was a problem. So yeah. Oh.
And Dom, I don't know if I asked you this. What is it that you hope folks take away from your film? I don't know if I think I asked them, but I didn't ask you. I'm curious what you think.
Well, obviously, unfortunately, a lot of people in the world are touched by cancer, either directly or indirectly, and there are some obvious things that I would love people to take away in that case. But I think as I, you know, some days get up and feel like I'm definitely experiencing a midlife crisis, I think going into the sort of second stage of life, treating it with a level of energy and tenacity and optimism that you see in spades with these guys is something we can all learn from. You don't have to wait for a massive bump in the road to try and learn that lesson. So yeah, I think that, like, remembering that we can always be more positive or optimistic or energetic.
And I'll just say the film, it's really quite, there's some beautiful scenes there too. I mean, gosh, you went to some great locations. And I love the opening because it's so positive. And it must have been quite fun to film that. You've got them, you know, the drone shots, the biking, and it really, I thought, represented all of you and sort of the spirit of activity and seizing the day. Did you put some thought into how you were going to open that scene? You know, because it really kind of sets the tone, I thought, for the film.
Well, I think, and apologies, there was a little bit of missing sound for about 20 seconds, but yeah, I think my goal was to make these guys look even more superhuman than they are in the first 20 seconds. And I think when people are outside having fun, doing activities that they enjoy doing, that is when people seem at their most energized and excited and superhuman. So in that, I wanted to make sure these guys were performing their best and doing what they love. Yeah, that I thought would be the best opening. And they all look pretty good doing it.
Well, I think we're going to be wrapping up soon, but are you all connected? Have you met? I'm curious, is tonight the first night you all met?
First time.
First time.
Well, Zoom. We met on
Yeah,
Zoom.
Zoom.
Once
you met on Zoom. And I assume you all have your families here, or family members, or friends here. Or somebody. You have your
They're
wife?
right here.
I'm very curious. I'm very curious to know how they're going to react to this, because I just thought it was beautiful.
They're very excited.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm just, it's really been a pleasure to meet all of you, and it's just been really inspiring. It's really a story of resilience, and as I said, I think we can take something away from this, regardless if we know somebody who has cancer or don't. There's just really this sense of power through it, and staying positive, and leaning on your community. Which you all talked. I think that's really important. I got that sense, whether it's your family. I love that scene too. That's one of my favorite scenes in the film, is the pile-on. It's really great. Well, I want to thank a few folks as we continue. I want to thank all of you for participating, and Dominic and Nadia for making this film. And I want to let you know you can see this film on the LA Times Short Docs page. Yay! And YouTube, and coming soon to Roku and VOD on Documentary Plus. We want to thank to Jesse Tyler Ferguson, our host. Thank you for being here. Absolutely. And we also want to thank Bloom and Passion Point Collective, and of course the AbbVie teams for tonight's event, and AbbVie for supporting the film, along with the production partners and communications team who made this event and this film. It's really been quite fun to be here, and thank you. And the reception is on the same floor at the lounge over there. So, but come on down and meet these wonderful people. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.